Before I got saved, I was always brought up in church. I'm going to quote Lecrae right here. He says he's a drug baby, as in drugged to church by mama or daddy or whoever it was. I was born in it, raised up in it, and I actually came to Christ and accepted Him at a very young age. But after I came to Christ, it took me about, I'd have to say, 5 or 6 years before I really realized what growing in my faith was and trusting in Him more. Getting saved is as easy as Romans 10:9 states, where it says, if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, you will be saved. It's that simple. Where you will find the most difficult part is, as you're living your life for Him and striving to follow Him, you realize how broken you are and you can't do it on your own. And you have to have God as your refuge, your strength, daily. And you have to pray to Him and have to just keep surrendering to Him and allow Him to work through you. I know it's hard in high school to pursue Christ and follow after Him. Well, God is really challenging me, I guess is what you'd say, to not conform. And as Romans 12:2 says, do not conform to the ways of this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. And that's one of the main things that I try to lay down my roots and just have my foundation in, is that I'm not the same creation. The old is gone, the new has come, and I'm to try to live by my new transformed mind. I'm a new person. Sometimes I do feel like I'm under more pressure. It's like I'm almost under a magnifying glass. A lot of my actions are blown up. I really have to be careful with the words I say, the things I do, because I do realize I'm in a leadership position and people kind of expect certain things out of you. And I've noticed that the higher you get, the more that you try to surrender to Christ and the more you try to follow Him, people just really like to see you fail. Through my quiet time, I get reassured by God, and He reminds me that He wants to use me, and He's going to help me when, even though it feels like there's a lot of people against me, that He's still for me, and that He still wants to use me. While I was attending Super Summer after my 8th grade year, I noticed I was kind of behind in my studies and biblically, and I was really challenged and encouraged by other Christians who were farther along in their walk, and it encouraged me to spend more time in the scriptures and just talking to God and praying with God and just learning from Him. I would just set apart time, whether it's in the morning or at night, depending on whether you're a morning person or not. I'm not at all. I have to do mine at night, and that's where I really feel as if I'm more focused on God and more open and acceptable to what He has to say to me. And I just carve out the time, and it's just something you have to do. You have to take time out of your own schedule and just pause and relax and just listen to God and focus on Him. I actually felt called to the ministry during my quiet time period, after I kind of realized the importance of it. There wasn't one set day I decided to surrender my life to the ministry. It was over a process. I talked to Ed for a while, I talked to my parents, I talked to some other people that had just tried to pour into my life, and that's when I just had to surrender to God and just tell Him to use me, to work through me. And ever since that day, I've been on my path, on my way, to try to learn as much as I can. When we were beginning to plan Amplify, and we were trying to look for a theme verse, I guess, to go by, I was actually going through 1 Thessalonians and 2 Thessalonians, and I came across 1 Thessalonians 2:12, which says, encouraging, comforting, and challenging you to live lives worthy of God, who has called you to His eternal glory. And we thought that was awesome. We thought that's what we need to really stick for. And through this, we pray that God will be amplified.